So I, of course, have been playing through Final Fantasy XIV, the MMO, and I got to dip into the special event highlighting the Final Fantasy XVI game, which basically is just a free ad promotion for the game, let's be serious. I have really enjoyed the storytelling bits of the game, and of course have kept my eye on it. Now it is coming to PC, and we have a chance to play through the demo, and holy heck, this game is just real-time cinema. It is absolutely breathtaking. Here's what happened. Of course, mild 16 spoilers throughout. So we load in with the game and have a few selections of gameplay features, but us being absolute chads, we are going to say, you know what, let's get the action based, not the story based. Now, I was told basically there's a callback reference to like everything across Final Fantasy games, and right out the gate, we see this massive cutscene of a giant fire demon and a phoenix fighting. So the phoenix immediately makes me think of the phoenix from the Coils of Bahamut. And honestly, the fire demon kind of looks like Ifrit, and these two are like really going at it, hardcore, not to be taken any other way. We get this real-time action sequence where we have to attack and dodge, but as I was going through this, I thought I was Ifrit and not the Phoenix, so I'm like spamming attacks and evades as much as I can, but it's like not doing anything and I'm like failing the event. Well, the two clash into a fiery explosion, then we get another cutscene of Clive sitting here staring at a fire. Already, the protagonist has emotional trauma in their past. I've seen that look before. Well, we look like we are a part of some type of killer death squad, and apparently we are hunting for a dominant, which after seeing Ifrit and the Phoenix fight, I venture a guess are the Primals? Icons? Well, for some reason we have face tattoos, like we visited a late 1990s prison. For some reason, we also get called Wyvern. That's interesting because I know for a fact that this guy's name is Clive. Well, the problem is that there are two warring factions about to attack each other, and we need to get involved and assassinate the dominant that we are targeting. We see this huge cutscene of guys being split in half, ice mages blasting frost everywhere. The war chocobos rushing through the mobs are actually pretty epic because I've always thought that they were just like docile creatures, and then you're just like watching them rip through armored soldiers like it was nothing. I actually was worried that my PC was going to have some trouble getting into all this chaos, but thus far it's handling pretty well. Apparently these dominants are fighting on both sides of the army, but they haven't appeared yet. We zoom into this stronghold to see soldiers mobilizing, and then the leaders of the stronghold, of course, bickering, which is always to be expected. The normies are out there dying while the kings and such are all just picking each other's noses. Then we zoom in on this blonde, who I'm just going to say she's evil. I don't need to see any more of this game to know that she's evil. Like, she's super duper evil. Just look at her. I'm just calling it. And of course, I also know someone is going to say it. Oh, I can fix her. See, there, I said it. You can't say it now. She then says, you haven't even released your dominant yet. Then this absolute hulk of a man steps out of the shadows and puts the lords in line. Immediately, I like this guy. Like, I mean, he's like pretty damn cool. He's like, I'm just going to go clean up all the fighting out there. Well, the lady walks out and chases him, but she also has like this sultry walk to her. Like, I wouldn't say that I'm an absolute expert on physiology, but there's something going on with her hips. Like, you know, maybe there's some misalignment there. Well, she calls him a cock, which I think is the funniest damn thing. And they start going at it, so I must avert my Christian eyes. They have some like weird love enemy thing going down the line, like I do with Chipotle's extra spicy double Dutch death sauce. Anyway, we pan back to our guys here, and it's like time to finally get into it. And I can actually run with my character, thank goodness. Well, the ground starts to shake for some reason, and a giant fist appears, and this world-ending giant pops up on screen, and it's Titan. Hey, I know that guy. It's Titan. Oh, hey, I recognize him. Across the battlefield comes another dominant. Oh, and it's Shiva. I know her too. Her trial was like super cool. Yeah, but the ice, that's Shiva. No doubt in my mind. Well, these two start having a big bag clash. Who's the deadlier god type match? Well, Titan walks out into the battlefield to fight Shiva and literally is squishing everything that he is walking through. His allies, enemies, he doesn't care. He's just straight walking towards the fight. Well, he fist punch, as if you could punch any other way, an ice beam, and then follows up with a huge punch stomp combo that like destroys the ground and rips it apart. Holy hell, our boy band group is running as fast as we can to avoid all the falling rock damage, dodging and sprinting while these two go at it above us. Well, Wyvern is dashing through all these massive rocks, and then we see our buddy in front of us get absolutely squashed, like blood on the rock squashed. He get knocked unconscious, and we reach back at him saying, "Brother!" Oh, crap. Our brother just died. We awake from a dream as some young kid named Clive. I recognize him. I'd say he's probably like 15 to 17, somewhere in that neighborhood, and a soldier is talking to us. We see Clive's younger brother and sister, and of course Torgal. I remember Torgal. I have that mount. Well, it's a sparring match, and this seems like the tutorial part. Finally, some combat. It took me 25 damn minutes to get here. Well, it goes through and shows us how to attack, dodge, use fireballs, which we apparently can do but I legit love the spamming capability of the fire attacks. I just sit there and it's like pew, 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 non-stop spam. Well, we have a short range dash, also called the Phoenix dash, which allows us to like basically instant transmission forward and wreck whoever we were fighting. It's pretty epic, not gonna lie. Well, we learn about the summoning during a staggered phase. So we damage a target enough so that they're staggered, and then we can use like the iconic attack, which deals like extra damage. And I just have to say, this whole thing is a movie. Even the combat, it's a movie. The way that these are put together is an absolute spectacle. Well, it seems like our brother and sister are excited to have us here, and my brother Joshua apparently has healing powers. It seems like he's already a better version of Alfie. Well, in walks the queen, and she looks pissed and mean. Like, she kind of does the whole like favoritism thing, like Joshua's the cool one, and then, you know, me and the girl are not. Well, we meet back up in front of the castle and see our father, the king. He looks like a well-loved and respected person. Ugh, I already have a bad feeling about this. Well, Torgal comes in and causes a ruckus, so Dad comes over and says, we need to talk in the throne room. Wink. Well, we get to roam around a little bit, and we see the camp and all the other soldiers mingling and doing their thing, but this apple guy comes down the stairs, and I noticed that he has the same markings on his face as we did have earlier. The group that we were with has that marking. Well, we head into the courtyard and see Joshua and Mom, but look at the movement here. I was laughing way too damn hard at this. Like, what kind of janky jumping around movement is this? I laughed at this probably harder than I should. Well, we walk into the throne room and Dad's on his chair and starts talking about something called the Blight and that it is spreading soon to our kingdom. Not foreboding or anything. Well, then we bring up a place called Drake's Breath and how we have to take it back from the Iron Blood Kingdom. And then Heidelink gets mentioned. Mother Crystal, baby. Just saying. Well, Dad says that we can't join in yet. We have to go on a special mission to stop some encroaching goblins with a soldier or two. And then Dad says, do it so Mom will shut up. We get a cutscene of the king and queen talking about the plans, and I've watched enough Game of Thrones and of course played Final Fantasy XIV to not trust any wine open that we didn't pour ourselves. Basically, Mom doesn't like Clive. She only likes Joshua because Clive in her eyes is a failure and a regular worthless man. Then Dad tries to defend us by saying like, yo, I'm just a normal guy too. Well, things start to get steamy, but Mom keeps harping on how much she hates Clive, and Dad resists her with a Bible verse. Just saying, I don't like her. There's something up with her. Well, Clive is talking to his sister Jill, and she's not happy that we're going to war again. And I can't blame her. The peace should last, right? We get a pan of the moon, and also look at this red star. I've played games long enough to know that that's somehow going to be important. You see the red star, that's going to be important with something. Well, now it's time to see off the soldiers and the main contingent who are going to the Phoenix Gate, while we are off on the side mission talking to our pure white chocobo. Then we see the two soldiers who are going to be accompanying us on this mission, and it's time to go murder some goblins. We arrive at Stillwind Marshes, and the place looks abysmal, which is to be expected. Now, it seems like we have our first open exploration area, so we run around seeing what we could see, and we start hearing the clattering of goblins around the corner. And like, look at these wretched things. This is actual depiction of me drinking decaf. Well, the goblins hear us break a branch, and now it's time to throw down. Let's go! Okay, so I have said this about the combat in the game. It is just incredible, honestly. It just looks and feels so damn good. Dodging and evading, slicing, it feels really, really responsive and is quick and kind of like this action-packed story. I love it. I love it. I've thoroughly been enjoying it. Well, we kill every one of these goblins as we are ordered, and I explore a bit to find various items around, mainly potions. Lots of potions. I don't know if we should be drinking these that we just found into like an abandoned village marsh type thing. Anyway, but what's really cool is when you put these combos together, like a dash and a slash attack, and then pop in magic damage, it just feels very like planned. It feels like the motions, the animations, everything works well together. Really, really cool. Well, I Van Dammed some doors and bridges, and as we enter into this courtyard, we see the Goblin Chieftain, I'm guessing. Well, he starts Rudy tooting his horn and summons a whole bunch of goblins out of the woodworks, and I've played enough of Elden Ring to see where this is going. Large circular room, arena style type stuff. There's going to be a boss here. Easy. Also, when you knock these little enemies down, you can pull off like finishers, which is epic. Like you can kick them, stab them through. It's really, really epic, actually. Well, we kill them all, and here comes the boss. Something called a Gigas? I don't know. A giant hammer swinging goblin with tons of HP, and it feels like a proper boss fight, not gonna lie. Also, one of our boys gets absolutely smashed and tossed away. Well, we dodge and work this massive guy down because damn, he's got some HP, like an absolute ton of HP. And the fight itself takes like 5 minutes actually to get the kill. I use this time to practice some of my dodges and timing so I can really work on getting those precision dodging counterattacks, which is really, really cool. Well, we get a bunch of EXP and then a bracer, and that's pretty cool. So we chase down the goblin leader into the swamp, and we're like, yeah, we're gonna get you. And then he just gets absolutely wrecked by a massive Morble. And I shout, I was like, oh, I've seen one of these guys before. I've seen these guys in Final Fantasy 14. Well, now it's another boss fight, and then this dude has tons of HP and lots of big swinging attacks. And in hindsight, I forgot that I had the icon finisher ability too, which is my Q button. I never actually used it, but apparently I had it, and I just never actually figured it out. Well, we go through a couple of phases and attacks and all these things, and then we get our first cinematic strike, which is like a real-time event, which is pretty damn cool, I'm not gonna lie. Oh yeah, I think I'm gonna like this game. Well, this guy takes another 5 minutes to get the kill, and we finally finish him off, and then we talk with our dream team about the problems that this proposes, and now it's time to get to the Phoenix Gate with the rest of our contingent. Back here, our crew is reveling in the fight and listening to the story about us, but Joshua is sad because he sees how much that we are liked by the soldiers. Josh then just asks his dad, well, why does it have to be me who's an icon? Which, honestly, I'm starting to really feel sad for the little brother. Outside, Clive is talking to his dog, and Josh comes out and joins us, and we find out that Josh really doesn't like to be the icon because people only like him because he has the power, not because they actually like and respect him as a person. Clive does his best big brother speech to cheer him up, and then little Joshua heads off to bed. Then we get a scene of two soldiers at the gate, and they seem to be merchants just arriving with a shipment from the capital, but once the gate is open, they assassinate the guards, and then in walks these super iron-forged soldiers, like legit. They look like true knights. Joshua then awakes with lots of screaming and shouting, and then grabs his sword. It's time to run. Wade is here to guide us, but like if he is an icon or primal, then like really I would be afraid for everyone else, not for Joshua actually. Well, he even moves like a little kid, slower, not as agile. I actually felt like this was a little bit obnoxious. I'm like, come on, move faster. Well, Joshua casts a fireball that nearly kills an enemy soldier outright, but every time he casts, it makes him a little bit weaker. Wade says that this is an Empire soldier. Good God, this game has the garlic bread Empire too. Ugh. We find out that the Empire was supposed to be our allies, but they have betrayed us, and that's on point, I suppose. Well, Tyler is here, and he's like super duper winded, so Joshua goes on a healing spree while Clive figures out how to open up a door. Dad shows up too, now we all decide it's time to go. Joshua and Dad ride off together to escape, and Clive says, you have to protect your dad. It is your duty. Something terrible is going to happen, isn't it? Well, Murdoch and I walk in and start murking each one of these mobs here to provide an escape for our boys. But like these soldiers are basically paper people. Like they don't even put up much of a fight. It's just bam, bam, dead. Well, we enter in this courtyard to see the captain, some other soldiers who were killing down allies. And we say, yep, time to go murdering again. But I'll be honest with you, these guys can't even pull off an auto attack. Good God, we were putting the work on them. Well, this goes over very quickly. And then up on top of the castle, we see a dragoon. It's a dragoon. Oh my God, it's a dragoon. Holy crap. Well, he's got like all sorts of dashes and jumps, but oh my God, look at him. It is so cool. I was so hyped to see the dragoon. I was like actually freaking out. He has a lot of really cool attacks, but he does his pinnacle jump attacks, which are pretty awesome. I also use this time to dodge his attacks appropriately, but somehow I end up pulling off a parry, which is not bad. Like it actually dealt more damage. The fight doesn't really last all that long as like say the Gigas did, but he did hit pretty damn hard. Well, after we get the kill, he is flopping around and we find out that he was already here before we even left our home base. So that means that there are traitors in our midst. We need to get back to our brother and dad. But suddenly we get a headache and then we see someone say, I think it says, I found you? Something like that. Josh and Dad are getting ready to leave, but then some soldiers betray us and literally murder Dad in front of Joshua. Wade goes in and tries to fight back, but then Joshua goes full F this Phoenix mode and Panic incinerates everyone around him. All the soldiers instantly burn, and maybe even Wade and Tyler, we don't know. Clive sees this happening and starts to panic, trying to calm his brother down, and rushing towards him, he almost gets crushed by a rock, but our Chocobo slides in at the last second and saves us. Then we get another massive headache, and then we see a burning effigy of a man appear, and then in an explosion, Clive turns into Ifrit. Like, that's Ifrit. I know that's Ifrit. So at the beginning, we were fighting our brother. Well, our flames burn so bright that we kill Murdoch, and now it's a massive kaiju battle between Ifrit and Phoenix. And this time I realized that we are actually playing the Phoenix, trying to fight off the Icon of Fire. And as we were going down into this massive chasm, it seems like a super huge, like, ancient library deep underneath the castle, or I guess. Well, we actively have to send our heat seekers to kill Ifrit all around and dodge his attacks as we go through. And then Ifrit gets off his damnation cast, which kills us, I guess, but we're a Phoenix, so we just kind of like magically res. Anyway, after this, we explode through the castle, killing some more soldiers as we appear. And then Ifrit gets the jump on the Phoenix, and literally Clive is shouting for him to stop. Stop, you're killing your brother. And it's like we're absolutely ripping Joshua to shreds. This is brutal. It's terrible to watch, man. And you hear Joshua screaming for help, and we bite down onto Josh's beak and punch a hole through his heart. We murdered our brother. The next morning, the Empire soldiers walk in, and guess who was with them? That's frickin' right. Mom was there. I knew she was up to something. You couldn't have hidden that from me. I knew that she was going to do something that's going to betray us. Well, they go through killing any survivors, and then they find Clive. The soldier asks if we should be killed, and Mom says, nah, put him on the Imperial front line because he's such a good soldier. Then 2 other knights rush up and kill the handmaidens behind the mom. What the hell, man? Okay, so this demo was absolutely breathtaking. The spectacles, the story, the fighting, it's all really, really good. Now, I was taken a bit back by how long it actually took us to get into the combat, but I think I was also kind of expecting this because I've, played Final Fantasy XIV, and I imagine that most of the stuff is like 50% story. So I knew that we were going to be getting things set up and setting the stage for the story moving forward. The whole story of Clive and his bond with his brother is incredibly sad because Clive gets possessed and then kills Joshua while he was out of control. It's heart-wrenching. The one person that he fought so hard to defend. I played enough of these games to realize that the dad was going to die immediately. He was a well-respected character and a lot of people liked him. He's dead. He's gonna die. And the mom, who was right out from the gate evil, actually was evil. I mean, I just had a sense of it, but immediately I am drawn to this story because of how quickly things were set up and knocked down. It also seems like it's setting the stage for us to go onto a revenge spree, not just against the Empire, but against Mom as well. Once the combat actually did start picking up, it really started cooking. It really felt reactive about timing, which is honestly something I really loved. Now, I'm curious of how, an RPG, this can be customized, but overall, the demo was incredibly impressive. Many things I really, really liked it, and I believe that this game is probably going to be one that I pick up and play, as it seems it could be absolutely epic story. If you didn't know, I do play Final Fantasy XIV as well, and I have been currently going through the Stormblood expansion on my first blind playthrough. If you are interested, you can catch my live streams Monday and Friday nights at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as checking this playlist here, where you can see all of my MSQ recaps. Otherwise, stay caffeinated, folks.